Now, Shrek the franchise had been a long time. I mean, everybody loved it. Somehow, Shrek became a pop culture phenomenon. It became memes, became games, became everything. But even that, there are a bunch of theories, and some of them are very popular. In fact, I could show some of the theories right here, people who make videos. But sometimes, once in a while, there is a theory that feels similar we heard before, but yet have a completely different take that you actually rethink the movies, how it actually built. You're also wondering why not they make the fifth movie about this? Because it feels you still add on more things. Of course, to make clear, this theory is not mine. It's actually from Itchy from Twitter slash X. This person rewatch how they tweeted, rewatch Shrek 2, come the conclusion of their theory is that Fairy Godmother is a witch. In effect, it makes sense even more that someone actually put another post on the same Twitter thread, posting it. Now it makes sense why she actually has witch in the background, witch photos like pulling the month or something like that in the corner, and that itself makes a lot of sense, especially how Fairy Godmother doesn't really act like a fairy godmother because a fairy possibly depends which version you read in your own fairy books or where you get your research because fairies are supposed to be good or evil. This just sort of mixes this. They like to help people or trick people. Depends on the writer in which you get the lore. But it sort of makes more sense why she wants to actually force his son to marry the king to marry her daughter because everything is sort of connected in a very strange way, but yet makes so much sense. Of course, let me break it down. Before I do, my name is Rachel. I like to talk about animation, not just animation, but reviews, first impressions, cartoon theories, and sometimes, if I have some spare time, cartoon breaking news. Of course, you like how it's going, you'll like to help my channel, but like, comment, and subscribe. If you don't, that's fine too. If you do, thanks, because of you, I did pass 1,000 subscribers, and I hope it can pass 2,000 thanks to all my subscribers and people will like, comment, and share my videos. Now, let's get started of the new theory, or semi-theory, of Fairy Godmother being a witch. Now, before I get started, I have to mention there is a sort of theory from the theorizer who made a sort of theories of the timeline of Shrek. You easily compare and contrast these two theories, but even that, this theory is sort of more a bigger example of how you reinterpret a film in different ways. And this is sort of a point one of you can actually do. I'm just saying if you want to compare or not, because someone will mention it. But besides that, one of the things that people believe that she is a witch is because one of the favorite scenes in Fairy Godmother sort of uh, experimenting a sort of spell, a sort of like a pot going back and forth, something like a witch. If you break it down even more, a whole business is sort of tricking people to make a deal with her. They can actually control them however she fits. The very end, she's into herself for the business, not to help others, just to help her. Once again, that's how you chose to interpret the specific scene of Shrek 2. On top of everything else, she doesn't act what she actually seems. She doesn't act like a godmother. In fact, she acts like a thug or someone who wants something back after you make a deal. Almost like a land shark, almost like a witch. Because in a far, far away, they actually are witches do exist. They like do harm other people. And on top of everything else, every sort of evil fairy or magical creature do hang out in the spoiled apple bar. There could be a lot of witches, a lot of different creatures do talk about certain things that sort of make sense how to change far, far away. And maybe doing that bar, the fairy godmother get the idea to become a fairy because talking other fairies, other witches, other different creatures in that bar. But when you think one of the witches, or aka the fairy godmother, wants more than she hurt people, she wants power. The only way to get power is to pretend to be a actually fairy, but not act like a witch. This way she sort of changed her appearance because that's all her business, to change the appearance of everyone who wants to look different or be accepted of society, or the one they actually deem to be loved for them and that for. That's what makes this theory interesting, because it sort of makes sense only a witch do that. A fairy is sort of more kind of in the middle grayish. Depends which sort you actually go for. Depends on the writer what the fairy could do or shouldn't. Because usually they're morally gray. They could be very good or very evil. Once more, depends. But it makes more sense that actually the fairy Godmother bewitched because of her plannings to actually convince Harold, the king, to become human to marry his beloved, that to convince her he is his Prince Charming to her. But planning this, if Harold does marry the queen in the future, she makes a power move to convince him to go back to her, that making him human, marrying her, the future wife, becoming the king, kind of cursing their child, just in case this actually does happen. Just in case if this person portrays her, she has an ace in the hole. Some of you saying your logic has a flaw of this theory, because the spell that Shrek 2 that Shrek drank, possibly only way to remove the spell of Fiona is probably is true love. And Prince Charming is not true love. Of course, there are two ways to tackle this. One, Shrek 2 does explain that Fiona were cursed again to fall in love with the Prince Charming, to actually forfeit the spell to convince them to fall in love and make Fiona human and make Prince Charming the king for far, far away. That's one way to tackle it. The second way is the fairy godmother can change the rules because she is magic. She can manipulate, change certain things however she chooses. What's more, the limit of the imagination is the limit of the fairy using her magic, or aka the witch. Because at the very end, she is the one who pulling the strings. The reason why she wants this is to make sure whatever descendant that Harold has, he can easily marry his son or she's son, because she's a witch. He can change Prince Charming whichever sex she wants. So she has everything planned just right for her taking over the kingdom. Because after Harold actually has Fiona and realizing the power is changing her as equally changing him, the only thing he could do is actually go to Fairy Godmother. Or the sequel series of the fourth film points out the king and queen went back to Rumpelstiltskin to make a deal to portray a fairy godmother. But the queen does point out or says that she doesn't trust the fairy godmother. Sup is up. But of course, the queen doesn't really know the situation, know that her husband is actually a frog, and the curse is sort of hereditary, passing gene to gene to the next person. And this is the reason why the king went to Grunkle's skin. Sorry, I can't say his name correctly. That he wanted to portray her, but he wasn't sure of the deal. That's why he kind of backed out and went back to Fairy Godmother. Because let's face it, you don't know what will happen when someone else steps in with other magic, and that sort of makes sense. But also makes sense in the fourth one. This plan actually did fail because Shrek 4 does point out that the dragon supposed to be protecting Fiona in the castle was never rescued because the prince of the fairy godmother failed because Prince Charming couldn't charm the dragon. It was Donkey who charmed the dragon. And that just makes a lot of sense. Because the prince, he's not a smart person. He's a mama's boy. He has no idea what he's doing. The only thing he must do is follow her mom instructions. Because if he does this, he actually give all the power to her mother. But there's one problem. Prince Charming is a moron, so it makes sense that he actually failed of Shrek 4. So yeah, everything just connects in a way. This all plan just completely fails because Harold sort of portrayed a fairy godmother, or vice versa. We could go all different directions here. The plan was kind of fail, but at the same time, it kind of makes you wonder what was the deal actually made. You know, it's the basic that the king asked for a favor for the fairy godmother to become human, but what did he trade back? And that's the interesting part. People believed, oh, he made a deal to give her daughter to the fairy godmother if he had a daughter to actually marry her son. And you think that was the plan, but yet it's so much more questions than actually answered. You kind of question what was the actually deal, what he actually did give up. We honestly don't know. But you have to guess and give my own theory. I'm guessing he thought it would be a minor favor. I scratch your back, you scratch mine. He was basically tricked to give her descendant to the fairy godparent to get control of the home kingdom. Because at the very end, this was a power move from the fairy godmother plan, in other words. But we do know something is sort of fascinating. Everything fall apart because Shrek sort of interrupted everything because he's the one who saved Fiona because of for Quackquat who wanted to marry her because he found a matching mirror. Or not found, actually he did find it, but you get the idea. He asked who is the fairest of an all, and he would say Fiona. At least one of the three categories. But that was sort of kind of fascinating that Destiny steps in and changes the rules of Fairy Godmother. But at the same time, it does make a lot of sense. It just fits right. Because how the Fairy Godmother, even that her plans, it just sort of not fully thought out. I mean, she was taking two steps at everyone, but yet she wasn't counting someone to step in like Shrek, in other words. Or maybe not. Maybe it was predestined to change everything because Destiny maybe is a god of this universe. Like Death, the big bad wolf, he's a god of death. Maybe we have a god of destiny who manipulates, doesn't like certain things, and change everything because they chose to challenge the fairy godmother. Or another type of god besides destiny could be partly a god of love. Choose whatever god of love you want, there are multiple around the world, but accept a god who pissed off because you crossed the line using their territory, a god of love, sounds a very possibility of this universe, of the Shrek universe, because you do have a god of death, so it makes sense you have a god of destiny or god of love stepping in to actually change the rules against the fairy godmother because she broke the number one rule: manipulate people to using love. Because how the cliche fairy tales go, you have to fall love realistically, not magically. So it makes sense if another god steps in. If Shrek 5 they chose to go that direction, I hope they do because I don't want to see different gods in the universe of Shrek, how they kind of talk to other people, but once more how that works, it'll be too difficult. A lot of questions, but it's something I kind of wish they maybe follow, hopefully someday. I just don't know. What you think? They should create another god just for Shrek 5 to connect everything? I don't know you. What's your opinion of that? I mean, that could be funny, that could be interesting if they see this theory online or on YouTube to actually convince him to do something like a connection if they want to. But I don't know you. What do you think about this theory? Does it make sense? Do you feel the other theories are better than this one? Tell me down below. Let me know. I got nothing else to say. Just thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and have a wonderful day. Bye.